Hello YouTube, how's it going? Let's take a drive. For centuries, politicians have taken political icons and used their words to persuade and manipulate their target audience. We all know David Carroll. For you who do not, consider yourself lucky. However, for those who do, stick with me. Mr. Carroll has proven himself to be disingenuous. In his 11-minute and 36-second video titled, How Malcolm X Agrees with Donald Sterling, he speaks on a very important topic of how to work together despite differences of opinion. Bravo. However, he quickly shows us how to be a sterling hypocrite by not missing an opportunity to insult those who disagree with him, yet then addresses how when one thinks outside of the box, you will be mislabeled. I personally bear witness to this, however, on YouTube and other public forums that I have been a part of. This normally occurs with a popular list of derogatory names, which function is to stigmatize a person as abjectly submissive and fawning in behavior to whites. We reach the 8-minute and 48-second mark. Up to this point, we are provided with a heaping portion of malarkey sprinkled with bits of truth. Finally, he hits us with what Malcolm reportedly stated about being honest. However, Mr. Carroll, to relieve himself of his previous failed reasoning, uses a sleight of hand tactic to once again act as a representative of the GOP. This he does very well, but fails at delivering on his video title, which again is How Malcolm X Agrees with Donald Sterling. In no way did he show how Malcolm would be in accord with the words of Donald Sterling. What he did demonstrate was how Malcolm would prefer a man to be forthright, something Mr. Carroll needs to work on, versus promoting himself as an angel of reason, but ultimately turning out to be the devil of context and rendition. David provides a link where you are supposed to be able to find this quote. Quote, I have more respect for a man who lets me know how he feels even if he is wrong, than one who comes upon me like an angel and is nothing but a devil, end quote. The actual quote is, quote, I have more respect for a man who lets me know where he stands, even if he's wrong, than the one who comes up like an angel and is nothing but a devil, end quote. Now, David's interpretation was, quote, I have more respect for Donald Sterling than your Democratic Party, end quote. Again, David interpreted Malcolm's words to mean, quote, I have more respect for Donald Sterling than your Democratic Party, end quote. We can correctly determine from the historical accounting which is available that Malcolm would be in opposition to Mr. Sterling's comments. Of course, I knew before assaulting my mind with this entertainment that it was to function in a multitude of ways. So, I am willing to discard the bulk of it. However, we can see that Mr. Carroll fails in delivering what he promised. I am not surprised. Like many people, he fancies cherry-picking in hopes you would not be thinking or examining the accuracy of his content. You do remember, he made mention of those who have the brain capacity of a dehydrated BB. Well, this may explain why he conveniently did not showcase this quote from the speech, the ballot, or the bullet. Do forgive me if I misquote. I am taking a drive, as you know, but if I remember correctly, Malcolm stated, quote, I'm no politician. I'm not even a student of politics. I'm not a Republican, nor a Democrat, nor an American, and got the sense enough to know it. I am one of the 22 million black victims of the Democrats, one of the 22 million black victims of the Republicans, and one of the 22 million black victims of Americanism. And when I speak, I don't speak as a Democrat or a Republican or an American. I speak as a victim of America's so-called democracy. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that comes up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. End quote. Yes, Malcolm. Indeed. Indeed. So, if there is anything that we can take away from this, outside of the entertainment provided by Mr. Carroll, is Malcolm X was not willing to surrender to sweeping generalizations and insults made about his people from the mouth of a racist. He also had no issue penetrating the veneer of political parties or a country. It is what it is.